Hello and welcome to Fragmaster's GTI Thursday, round 17 at Kyoto Ring Oval Reversed. The first time we've ever done Kyoto Ring Oval Reversed in our 5-year history. Can you believe it? It's a new combo. I'm Peter Butcher, you're watching Sim Broadcast, and tonight, as ever for GTI Thursday, it's Fraz alongside me. Fraz, how are you doing?
Oh, it's all great here, Pete. Yeah, oval reverse. I don't even drive oval reverse, so I don't know anything about this.
Well, yeah, me neither. I guess so. Yeah, it's a first. It's a very unusual combination, but we're going to drive it tonight with the XRG. And well, here's what the drivers have got to look forward to. It's going to be 27 lap races with the mandatory pit stop and a top 15 reverse grid for the second 27 lap race. The race is going to be about half an hour each, just under, and it's going to be tonight with the XRG, the rear wheel drive variant in the GTI class, 1.8 litre inline 4 front engine rear wheel drive configuration, 140 brake horsepower and just over a ton in weight, so it's pretty heavy. The drivers are going to get a lot of slipstreaming out there. And just to remind everybody, this is part of a larger series. This series runs every single week on a Thursday. You can join in, in the broadcast if you want, or you can join in on the server for some great GTI racing. It's packed grids every single week, and today is no exception for us. We've got an immense amount of drivers on show here today.
Yeah, I wasn't there all the way through quali, but yeah, it looked like we had a full server just about. So I think more than 40 drivers joined.
Yeah, well, I think we'll be able to show some of them now. It's Joe Holmes that's clinched pole position of 55.21, but look at the gaps. There's absolutely no time between these drivers, and that's going to give us some exciting oval racing this evening. So there you go. Nali Luca on the first row alongside Joe Holmes. Neuroticat, Trespasser back with us, which is great to see. Then we've got Unite and TJ on row 3, Argai, Rayman, Kingy, and Mouseman LV. Your top 10, and as Fraz said, yeah, an enormous amount of drivers, more than 40 qualifiers, I think. And there is the second page of everyone that's set at least one of the flying laps in the qualifying session. Most people within the 55s or the 56s, and Winners Junior Lauti there, setting a lap in the end, but will not start the race unless somebody else gives them a place. I think we've got about 40 seconds, so let's quickly rush through the championship standings and where we sit with those, because, well, it paints quite a picture. In the Drivers' Championship, it is Joe Holmes with almost more than double anybody else in the championship. Joe Holmes streaking ahead of Twin Cam there with over 1,000 points, Twin Cam with just 500. So it just shows you the sort of consistency there, Fraz, that Joe's been on this season.
Oh, he's just amazing with these cars. Like, I cannot believe it. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible stuff. We can go through this again in the break between the qualifying and the race, but I think we are going to go straight into the race. But just worth pointing out that it's currently winners that are leading in the team's championship for us as we head to the grid. Take us away for the start if you can. An enormous grid, Fraz, that you've got to deal with here.
Yeah, this is, oh, look at that, around the turn. We got Joe Holmes on pole. Is that Neuroticat on in second, did we say? Oh, Naliuka. Neuroticat sitting right behind him. We are waiting for the lights.
We are, and it's just an enormous amount of cars, as you can see, the cars stretching all the way. Off we go.
So it's very important these guys get in a single line, get their drafting order in pack, because the longer you're too wide here, the more danger it is.
Yeah, it's going to be absolute chaos down to the first real corner that we get to. There are all the 40 cars going into what is oval turn 1 in this direction, and it's a little bit of an unusual event, to be honest. We don't often see the oval being driven in this direction, but there's a first time for everything.
So we've got Trespasser and Nally up front, Joe Holmes on the inside. TJ right behind Joe. So it looking like TJ and Joe on a... Oh, Joe into the pits.
Straight away, yeah. He's gone into the pits from pole position. That's new and interesting and different, and pushes TJ and Trespasser. TJ's had a fantastic start. He's gone all the way up into the lead.
Well,
So, yeah.
it'll be curious as to see who pitted with Joe, because he must have had a game plan here. He's got to have a drafting partner.
He does, and Trespasser has taken over the lead of the race. So Neuroticat's there, Unite is also there. These guys are extremely experienced, but what of that? What's going on there?
We got TJ and Neuroticat into the wall.
Yeah, TJ upside down, I think. Oh no, Neuroticat was upside down, but TJ drops way down the order. There you can see him recovering. Oh, almost looked like he got rear-ended there, but he didn't quite. Somehow, Trespasser has managed to stay out of all this nonsense, and now he's decided to come into the pit lane with Unite. So drivers pitting very early in this one for us. This is super unusual.
This is very, because they're in the lead. I mean,
yeah. TJ's in, but he's got lots and lots of damage, so I would say that TJ's run to the front ends here, unfortunately, today, and that promotes Kingy and Rayman to the front of this race. We've got two Born to Race drivers at the front now, with Mouseman there in the, what is that, the sort of white and brown livery there.
Again, so these guys can 3-car draft in this. So let's see if they get in order and figure it all out.
Yeah, well, it's Mouseman with Kingy leading the way as they head down to oval turn 2 in this direction. Normally oval turn, no, what is that normally? That isn't normally oval turn 2.
Turn 3, I think, wasn't it? Oh no, turn 2.
Turn 2, yeah, it's so disorienting.
Yeah, turn 2 stays turn 2.
And down the order, we're going to have to rejoin with where Joe Holmes is. It's unbelievable. P35, P34 now, but battling in a 3 wide. And we've got Ayub and Sufor in a train behind, and that's Unite just joining in there. So Unite drops back behind the two Born to Race drivers, and Joe's got a bit of a jump.
So it all worked out maybe for Joe Holmes. There he's going by Onifus, my teammate. So
yeah, but now he's at the head of a big pack. Well, actually, he's not, is he? No, he's dropping back
and
again.
I don't know who he's acting with.
Well, he's with Thambu and Naliluka, who is in front now. And that's 3 wide over start finish again. And, well, we've got an interesting race here.
So they're hoping Nally and Joe can get away, I imagine. And maybe get some clean air. We go on board with Mooseman here. Now, Moose was saying he's not much of an oval driver, but he was one of the fastest guys in pre-qualifying sessions.
Yeah, Massman's got plenty of oval experience, maybe not as much as some of the drivers, but he's still got plenty of it, so he should be doing all right, and he's in a good position. He's drafting with 2 experienced drivers, but at the moment he's forcing a 3 wide situation, which just hasn't worked out. It's actually going to be slowing them down quite a bit. It's probably better. Yeah, in fact, I think he's now probably lost the slipstream.
Yeah, I think he might have lost it there.
I think he has. So there I was bigging him up, but actually I think he's just dropped out of that draft train and might be end up being caught by Twin Cam and Hachiroku, who are P4 and 5 currently in a good duo here. Oh, but Carl's there, bumped by Grzanka, and our guy is in that battle as well, just behind. So everyone is completely out of order. It's quite a long race, so anything can happen here. We've got drivers all over the place doing different strategies. Some drivers pitted on that 1, some drivers pitted on that 2, and that's sort of split the field out a lot. Trespasser had the fastest pit stop of anybody, if that makes any difference, and he's in P21. He is quite a way ahead of Joe Holmes. It has to be said. There's a big gap there, so Trespasser's going to have to hope that Joe gets either held up or doesn't find a good drafting partner.
So is that Unite behind Joe, though?
That's Naliluka with Joe Holmes at the moment.
Nally was on the front row, wasn't he, when we started?
He was. So it was Joe and Nally together. Yeah, at the beginning. So that the 2 fastest drivers in qualifying are together. But Unite is not. He's with Onifus at the moment, but losing time, quite a lot of time to the Born to Race cars and also Thambu just ahead of him.
Well, Unite pitted not far behind Trespasser. So yeah, he's really lost out on track position.
Yeah, Unite didn't have a draft when he left pit lane, so that's why he's dropped all the way back to there as Kingy sets the fastest lap, which proves once again that the partnership at the front with Rayman is working well. Kingy and Rayman are doing a great job, and they've managed to drop Mouseman, who's going to be sucked up by Twin Cam and Hashiroku at some point. And look at this, 3 wide with Argai now taking over P6.
That's our guy, Carls and Grzanka. Now, if they don't get their 3-car draft in order, they'll now become a slow team. So let's see how they work out.
Yeah, great stuff. In the background there, you can see cars going 4 wide. There's 3 winners' cars in this battle here, as well as R. Hernandez, who is in there somewhere.
Mr. Hernandez in the yellow car.
Yeah, on the inside line, crucially, but got to be careful not to wash out too wide. The winners' car's back together there on the high line, and actually able to sort of drive around the outside of Hernandez, bumping each other a little bit, maybe? No?
Yeah, he's got to move up and get in their draft right now. He's got him.
Our guy goes back.
But yeah, he's going to hold this car through, I believe, and that'll be his mistake.
Yeah, interestingly, I think Trespasser almost managed to pick up a backmarker, an experienced backmarker as well. He nearly picked up Christian, but Christian's dropped off a little bit. So Trespasser is back on his own. And Twin Cam has now got up to Mouseman, and he's pulling Hachiroku with him. So Mouseman gets a second chance here to try and remain at the front of this race, but risks these two just drafting straight on by him if he's not careful.
So he's got to cover these guys quick. He's got to get right behind Hachi right now and stay in their draft.
Oh, Hachiroku getting a bit unsettled. He does. But now he's got to play it safe. I don't think a 3-car draft is going to work.
He's got Hachi. I know he's not going to make the pass, though. This is where the flaw was. He went down. He had to make that pass. Because now they're too wide and they are going slow again.
Yeah, this risks becoming a much, much larger pack unless they sort themselves out. And Mouseman actually removes himself from the race. He's given up. He doesn't want to do it. So that leaves Twin Cam and Hachiroku to themselves. And Mouseman is out for some reason. Not sure why. Maybe he just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, that's a shame because, we kind of needed him. I mean, just because you're not drafting properly in a 3-car draft doesn't mean you should stop.
Well, he didn't feel up for it. That's unusual. But anyway, we have a race still to talk about. Joe Holmes with the fastest lap down in P25, working hard with Nani Luca, trying to catch up to the back of Trespasser. They're closing that gap down for us. They've not got too far to go. Trespasser is not going to be in the lead of this race for much longer. But there is still, what is that gap? It's about 1.5 seconds between Joe Holmes, Nani Luca, and Trespasser. 1.3 seconds.
Now, I don't know if Nani Luca's, his experience in a 3-car draft, because we both just see it. You don't do it right, it's going to slow you down. You'll be slower than the 2-car draft behind you.
Well, we can get an idea of how this is going to work out. Let's see Nani Luca get past Joe once again at sort of what is essentially going to be the front of the grid when everybody else pits, but we just don't know. We've got to see how well Rayman and Kingy have been working together. As we go over start-finish, we may get an update. No, Joe's going to just about get Nani Luca before start-finish. So they went over the line pretty much bang on together there. But there is Trespasser just coming into view ahead. And Nani Luca, well, actually lost quite a bit of time there. But so far, so good between these two.
I don't think he maintained the draft, did he? No, it must be a long.
No, I think Joe's done an amazing job to actually, deny Nani Luca the overtaking. Oh no, there you go. He is actually now moving out. But it's going to be a really big slingshot for Nani Luca, or rather, not so much. So this isn't as comfortable as Joe would want it, but they're still making good progress. One of them has got the fastest lap, which really is all you need to know that the draft duo is working better than anybody else there out on track.
Well, I'm going to say, though, Rayman and Kingy were working, we know they're working good together, and they're under no pressure.
No, absolutely, and they don't have to worry about traffic at the moment. They are happy out in the front. And we're watching from the rear view of Trespasser, and you can just see that Joe's car is growing quite a bit bigger. The gap down to around about a second now. Just over.
Yeah, here comes Naliuka making his move on Joe. You'll see Joe ends up right behind Naliuka's car. Staying in the draft. He's timing it out, waiting for speed to happen. And there he goes.
Yeah, and the gap down now to below a second. So it's just like that. The tables have turned, and Trespasser, having had a fantastic start, is going to be, and a fantastic pit stop, it has to be said, will now be caught by these two, and they'll have to get into some sort of three-way rhythm. But Trespasser's now caught up to a back marker. It's Burnt, who goes it takes a high line, but Trespasser is left in a sort of an awkward position there. To go
So
past him.
Trespasser going for it. Joe Holmes following him through.
Yeah, those two still side by side. And now Joe needs to hope that this three-car train works better than the two cars that are currently leading the race. This is a difficult scenario because all three of these drivers will want the win. So they need to find out a way very, very quickly to work together. Now, normally, you find the two drivers that work best together and the third just follows along. But Trespasser's lost momentum there, Fraz. I wonder if he's still going to get the slipstream. Yeah, he should just be about okay, but he can't give up any more space than that.
He'll get him in the corner here.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that got Trespasser off guard because he wasn't ready for Naliuka, who didn't wait coming around the turn. He went right for the draft, or right for the pass off Joe.
Yeah, Trespasser is just about hanging on at the moment, and there we go, back in contact. Needs to decide what he's going to do. Is he going to hang back and just bide his time with these two? It looks like he is. He's going to try and play it relatively safe, which is a smart move. Unless is he actually thinking of going past Joe? He is. So he wants to get involved
going
in
for
this.
it now.
Now, these three need to work so efficiently, otherwise it's going to be advantage to the Born to Race cars at the front. Be interesting to keep an eye on their lap times, actually. Joe Holmes just did a 55.09, whereas our race leaders last time round doing 54.7s. 54. Sorry.
So let's see if Naliuka lets Trespasser stay in the middle. That's the key here. If Trespasser can stay in the middle of this group, he can lead them through.
Well, their last lap times were identical between the leading pair, so at the moment it's working. At the moment, this trio are working well together, and they're trying to match the pace of these two that we now have on screen. Kingy leads the way. Rayman is drafting with him. Twin Cam is some 2 seconds back as we lose Petronas. Petronas has left the race. Not sure what happened there, but
it could be a South American connection. I think he looked like he knew what he was doing on you.
Yeah, potentially just having a struggle for whatever reason. Could be anything. Sometimes it's just frustrating or difficult to work with people out there on the track, and you end up holding each other up, and it just becomes a little bit frustrating. But at the moment, there we go.
Well, and a lot of people aren't used to racing this close with so many other cars around.
No, that's absolutely true. I mean, yeah, and it doesn't get any more intense than this. 40 cars started this race. We're down to 36, so only 4 drivers have left the race so far, which is a great effort. So 17 laps in, approaching the end already. Actually, we're watching Joe Holmes, who is going to swing to the inside.
On the inside, in the middle now. Here comes Joe. He's going to
bump Trespasser there, but then drop back behind. So yeah, this is starting to get uncomfortable for these three. And we really, at this point, it's really impossible to determine where the Born to Race cars are going to come out in relation to these three.
Wow. As far as I know, they're going to pit on the final lap, though.
Well, exactly, but we've got to keep an eye on their pace. They just the pair at the front just set a 55.2, and last time round I think Joe set a 50. Trespasser got a 54.9 as he was bumped over the line. So at the moment, it's working. Super interesting stuff. But we've got sort of a two sort of groups that could potentially win this one. The Born to Race duo out the front. Got Hachiroku and Twin Cam in the background that could have an impact in this race. Magic here in a three-way group as well. He's picked up two of the winners' cars. That's Rid and Dodislav. Sorry, not Rid. That is it is Rid. Sorry.
Should be a relatively good group then.
Yeah, you'd hope so. And remember that we've got the top 15 reverse grid after this race. So anyone that finishes in P15 takes pole position. And climbing through the order in an oval race is somewhat easier than climbing through the order in a regular race because you've got the slipstream the whole way around the lap. So if you play your cards right and you've got the strategy and you've got the experience, it is quite easy, isn't it, for us to make up places if you've got cars around you?
Oh, yes. This is the one phase where you're going to jump positions on the opening laps. And yeah, if you don't have your draft partner nailed down and the group behind you is a good drafting team, you're at their mercy.
Well, Joe just did a 54.88, so he did an all right job on the last lap. But Chris in our ear reckons that this group is having a bit of a struggle at the moment. Their lap times are still okay-ish, but it really is anyone's game. We could end up with any one of 5 cars winning at this rate, which is always exciting.
I think, the danger, there's a more danger with this 3-car drafting team that don't know what they're doing right now than the 2-car team up front that is running flawlessly.
Yeah, and there's also more room for mistakes later on. It's much more difficult to choreograph 3 than it is to choreograph 2. And yeah, it just doesn't look like it's that comfortable at the moment. Joe to the inside again.
So ideally in a 3-car draft,
yep,
you want to keep the middle car. He's the main car in the draft. He's holding it all together. He's the glue, and he should always be the middle car. This is their problem. They don't have that middle car all the time. They're just battling each other constantly.
I mean, you've probably watched more oval racing than most people, so you know sort of the best way around the track. And yeah, it is true that it tends to be that the middle car stays where they are and the front and rear sort of swap around. At the moment, this is working, but it remains to be seen how quick they're going to be. Yeah, that just looks uncomfortable, doesn't it? But for some reason, it's fast.
Well, they're gonna catch a break every now and then. They'll get it right. I mean, they are 3 cars.
Yeah, 54.8 there for Joe. We'll see what Rayman manages.
Yeah,
let's see what Rayman and
Kingy
manage.
They're just not closing up on the gap up front fast enough, I don't think.
Well, let's see what the times are as these two come across start finish. 54.7 and 54 and 55.06. So that they've got a similar pace between them. 54.7 is a tenth of a second faster than Joe managed on the last lap for Rayman there.
But like you keep saying, these guys look really uncomfortable. I mean, they could make a huge mistake.
It could indeed, and it only takes one little twitch, one little bit of oversteer out of turn 1 in this direction, and everything can go wrong, and it does there. Look,
there's contact right there
between Trespasser and Naliluka, and that's not only going to hurt Joe as Trespasser lights the rear tyres up with 5 laps to go. Trespasser and Naliluka have potentially cost Joe Holmes a chance at a podium even here. That's big. Joe's now left on his own. He's going to have to wait for Naliluka and Trespasser to catch him up, but even they are miles between each other. So these 3...
even they're not drafting with each other. He's got a lift, or
he's got to do something. I mean,
it's over for Joe, I'd have to say.
And this throws a massive advantage the way of Twin Cam and Hachiroku, who are still drafting with each other quite effectively. If they just keep going now, they've got 5 laps where they've got slipstream off each other, and they can pull seconds like 3 seconds probably before the end onto Joe and Naliluka and Trespasser.
And we know their laps are probably just as competitive as Joe's were. You know, they were going maybe a little slower, but now Joe Holmes is a solo, and these guys are hooked up.
He's already done his pit stop. He has. I think he's backed off. I think he's backed off to pick up Naliluka again. There we go. Look, they're back together. They've realised that, well, Joe has to sacrifice some time. Trespasser went from being at the lead with a solid lead to now being probably not. He's not going to finish on the podium by the looks of it. He'll have to drive a sterling end to this race and hope that the others ahead of them don't get a good pit stop on lap 26. But we will see. The gap on track between the leaders is 33 seconds between Joe and
that was always the danger with that 3-car draft. That they just didn't have it. They were always fighting each other, and you just saw it happen.
Well, here we go on to lap 26. Lap 25. We will go, and the drivers at the lead of this race are going to have to pit next lap.
And that's Rayman on the inside. Kingy now will slip right behind him.
Yeah, they've got some traffic to navigate. It's not going to be straightforward.
So we've got Twin and Hatchie in.
Yeah, they're in. And where are they going to come out? Well, they're back together again, crucially. Where is Joe Holmes? Joe Holmes is now just coming past with Naliluka. I think they're going to be quite far ahead, aren't they?
I think they're going to be. I think they're ahead of them.
Is it going to be close? It's going to be fairly close. Now they're already up to top speed. You can just see the roof of one of the Born Trace cars there at the bottom. So I would say from that as they're actually hitting a bit of traffic again, it's going to be close between these two and the race leaders. But I think the Born to Race duo have done it. I think they've done enough. If they can get a good pit stop. Hachiroku and Tuncam, that's where they are. That's very close. I mean, Trespasser's there as well. Trespasser does manage to get ahead of those two.
Does manage to get by them. Wow.
Only just. Anyway, our race leaders are in. Kingy and Rayman have come in a lap early. We didn't expect them to be in on this lap. They could have stayed out one lap longer. There's a bit of a gap between them. That could be crucial. But they're just at the top of the screen. You could just see the nose cone of Naliluka with Joe Holmes. And let's see if they did it. There they are, the Born to Race duo, just on the right of your shot. This is going to be super close, but maybe they've done enough.
They're going full speed down.
I cannot believe
they're not
this.
In drafting.
I can't believe this because of their pit stop. They've been split, and Joe might manage to get past Rayman here as well. Naliluka's got the run, certainly, and they go to the front. Even after that bit of contact, Joe and Naliluka retake the lead of the race. Rayman third, Kingy fourth, Trespasser currently fifth, and we've got one lap to go. In fact, no, we're already on the final lap now because Grzanka and our guy have already hit the pit lane. But these drivers are going to take over the lead. They will pass over start finish one more time, and we will start what is the final lap. Everybody else is in the pits, remember. So Joe Holmes currently 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, and takes over the lead of the race with Naliluka actually leading onto the final lap. Everybody else in pit lane. Rayman 3rd, Trespasser 4th, Kingy and Twincam 5th, and Hachiroku. Kingy and Twincam 5th and 6th, and Hachiroku 7th. Onifus and Unite in the draft battle.
I was pretty confident Rayman and Kingy had done enough.
Me too. I thought it was enough, but it wasn't, and that's crucial. Oh, back marker. Getting out of the way and actually, I think, pitting. Finnick just pitted there as we come to the line, Fraz, at the end of what's been a pretty fantastic race, and we've got another one to come. Top 15 reverse grid in a few minutes.
And I see TJ sitting battling for 15th on the grid.
Yeah,
and it's Joe Holmes with the win. Naliluka 2nd, Rayman 3rd.
Yeah, that was absolutely epic. Joe Holmes does get the win. It was close with Naliluka. But my, what a finish. And it looks like TJ has lucked himself into pole position. Would you believe it?
Well, he did everything he could. I mean, yeah, after his first race incident, to battle back and get 15th, and that means pole for next race.
Carls is out of fuel. He's out of fuel on the final lap. He's just trundling into pit lane, hoping he can get some fuel. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to help him across the line, but that could be a DNF for Carls, unfortunately, as everyone else is coming around to finish. An amazing amount of starters, 40 cars started this race. We're currently looking at having 36 finishers if cars can get across the line. But that was some intense battling up and down the field. 3 groups of cars potentially in for the win, but it was Joe Holmes and Nani Luca who, in the end, managed just about to keep their noses ahead of the duo of Kingy and Rayman. And I think Carls will just about make it. He can't afford to stop. There we go. He's across the line now. Oh, is he? Oh, he is. He's across the line. There we go. So Carls did manage to finish in the pit lane. Let's take a look at those race results then as we flash those up on screen. It's Joe Holmes, Nana Luca and Rayman on the podium with Trespasser, who led, had a fantastic pit stop, was caught and then had contact with Nana Luca, which cost him to drop down and lose out on the final draft to the win. And even though Joe Holmes had to back off and let Nana Luca catch up, those two managed to streak ahead and ended up being almost 7/10 ahead of Rayman. Kingy there in P5, Twin Cam, Hashiroku, Onifus, Unite, and Sufor, your top 10. We've got Argai, Grzanka, Hernandez, Ayub, TJ, who will take pole position for race number 2, being in P15. Thambu, Heiko, River, Omar, and Rid, your top 20. And then over on the second screen, we've got Magic, Igorka, JJ Raijo, Kirku87, P. Neves, Dodislav, Wino Good, Chameleon, Rocket, and Jay Martin's top 30. And then the final finishers were EA Presley, VM Carls, Alf DC2R, Burnt, Nate Novak, and Christian. 36 finishers with DNFs for Petronas, O2 Flair, Marsman LV, and Alan Reet. Well, Fraz, if that doesn't get you excited for race 2, I don't know what will. Because we've got the added intrigue of a reversed top 15.
Yeah, this should be good. And TJ is lined up beside AU. So that is, if they can get together, they should be a really good drafting partner. But again, it's the opening lap. You don't know what's going to happen at T1 here.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see. We'll get around about a 5-minute break with which we can talk about the potential options, and also we can walk through the championship standings once again going into this round. There's a bit of a void in the drivers' championship standings, but the teams is a little bit more interesting. Last year, if you remember, Fraz, the Born to Race cars had a stranglehold on the teams championship, but this year it's a slightly different story because the winners team have turned up with an enormous amount of drivers every single round.
Right. Last year it was B2R. They always had way more drivers than everybody else. But winners, yeah, equal amount of drivers this year, and yeah, pretty much an equal team.
Yeah, but they've definitely brought the fight to the Born to Race team. They're currently over 200 points ahead of them going into this round, with Sim Racing Polska there in P3, Roda Fraser, Sidus, Race Green, World Class Lines, TAV, Fragmasters, MRT, the top 10 in that championship. And it's a great amount of teams to see on the teams championship. Obviously, we have a lot of independent drivers who race week in, week out, but it's the same sort of teams that come and frequent GTI Thursday. But great to see such a huge amount of participation this year again for us.
So you're just saying individual driver. I was just looking at the list, Joe Holmes would be in 3rd place.
That's amazing, isn't it? I mean, you look at this, 1,112 points. Joe Holmes on his own, he would be in 3rd place in the team's championship if he was, representing a team, I guess. But there we go. Twin Cam under, just over half the points that Joe Holmes has. With Sufor there 3rd, Danny Luca, Rid, Rayman, Magic, TJ, Hashiroku, and Loco. Top 10 at the moment. And again, just a vast number of drivers participating this year for us. This
list will go on and on and on.
It will indeed. I hope we've got the full list here, but yeah, we will have to flash all the names up and give everyone some airtime, I suppose. Looks like the counter on the server is having a little bit of a little bit of a jump at the moment. I think we've probably got not that long to go before the race. Probably about 15 seconds at this point. I've not seen that before, but we will see what happens. We're just on a little bit on the edge of our seats here about when the next race is going to start, but we'll just keep talking for now. And there you go, 98 drivers with a time on the board. Sorry, not a time, points on the board so far in GTI Thursday. And, you know, we're only in April. Expect that number to climb by quite an amount for us before the end of the year.
Yeah, if you ever, just join every Thursday. We race. Generally, it's an hour-long race. But for the live stream, we mix it up and split the races up.
Yeah, indeed. This format is not the usual format that GTI Thursday takes. Each of the rounds that are broadcasted, we end up splitting the race in two. We have two races just to keep the action a little bit more exciting for the cameras. But normally, in the usual weekly running of GTI Thursday, it's one big long race, isn't it, Fraz? And that adds a different angle, different sort of racing that the drivers need to perfect.
Right. Now you're bringing in the tires, possibility of tires exploding, suspension, brakes. Yeah, it's a much different thing.
Yeah, but shake it up a bit is always what we like. So yeah, if you do enjoy this, then you can turn up to round 18 next week. And if you like the double header, the two races, you can turn up to round 21 and be broadcast as well. Fraz, we have a grid. Take us away for race 2, reverse grid.
So we're going to have TJ on pole with Ayub's going to line up right beside him. Oh, it's Fernandez? No, Fernandez is in third. Ayub is beside him.
Yeah, the timing tower is slightly squiffy because of the way that the track is laid out, but we do have Ayub in P2. There you can just about see him as we go green.
Okay, now it's Joe Holmes back in 15th.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
This is what Ayub and TJ wanted to see. They've broken out.
As everybody heads into turn 1, doesn't seem like we've got any incidents so far, but hold your breath because we haven't got out of the corner yet. It's quite a long one. And as everybody comes out onto the gap between turns 1 and 2, it looks good. It's a good looking grid. 38 cars storming down to turn 2, and Ayub and TJ, two extremely experienced hands, are through and clear of everybody else. Ayub very, very unlucky during the 100-minute of RTFR XL on Tuesday. Lost connection on the final lap. Hopefully that doesn't happen today.
No, really?
Yeah, on the final lap he lost connection. It was pretty brutal, but he takes over the lead in a bit of solace, and let's see if he can keep it there. Lots and lots of drivers heading to the pit lane on the first lap, Fraz. Once again.
I think if I was at the back, I'd want to pit early. It'll be interesting to see what Joe Holmes does. Does he go in?
Yeah, he's in side by side with who's he gone in with? He's gone in with Thambu, a driver that was just without a draft partner for a little while during the first race, but it could potentially be a good drafting partner for Joe. Let's see what happens. There's Nali Luca.
I think I saw Nali Luca in there too, so that's who he's looking to hook up with.
Yeah, no, Luca's actually just about with him. In fact, yeah, no, Luca's managed to make the jump on Thambu even. So Joe probably will wait for him. Thambu missed his box.
So this worked out good for those two. We know they just worked well together.
Yeah, so interesting to pit straight away on the first lap. Who have we got pitting on their own? Trespasser's in on his own. Oh dear.
Oh no,
I mean, this might be genius. He might come out with Joe and Nali Luca. Look at him. He's taking the shortest line possible through pit lane. I'd be really interested to see where Trespasser comes out. We'll find out in a minute. But Ayub and TJ have decided that they are going to stay out. They're going to try and do what Kingy and Rayman couldn't do in race 1. They're going to try and race Joe Holmes and Nali Luca to the line as a pair, and very experienced, these two, Moroccan and South American. Off we go. Let's do it.
Yeah. We all know TJ, 5-time champion here at GTI Thursday. So yeah, we know he's fast. Ayub, well, he's He's one of the best. That's all I can say.
Trespasser, what is he doing today? How has he managed to make such a jump on Joe and Naliluka? Look at the size of that gap. He's done it again. How is he managing that, Fraz?
Well, yeah, I don't know what happened on that opening lap, who he is with, but yeah. I naturally
Trespasser is so
assumed.
far ahead again after the stop, and I'm not entirely sure how he's managed to do it. It's not going to make any difference, as we saw before. He's completely alone, and he's going to get caught and swallowed by Joe and Naliluka again. But it's just an impressive pit stop for Trespasser. He's doing something different than everybody else, clearly. Does he take up the last pit box? What does he do? I don't think he did. I think he pitted somewhere in the middle, didn't he?
I
That's very, very that's perplexing. But anyway, good for him. He's got a bit of an advantage again over Joe and Naliluka, but it will just disappear. There's not enough laps left for him to just maintain a gap on his own.
We saw this in the first race. These two teamed up, got to him, but then it all went bad for Trespasser in the end.
Yeah, and interestingly, we've got two Born to Race teammates in the pit lane as well, Twincam and Rayman, who will start, of course. They started ahead of Joe and Naliluka, and let's see where they come out. They've pitted much earlier, and I suspect, Fraz, that this is because they don't want to be overtaken on the pit stop. They want to get back out on the track and battle them. And there you go. Look, they're much further ahead now than they were last time. And I think Twincam and Rayman.
We always talk about this.
Yeah, they're going to be out way ahead.
You got to lose your position on the track battling with them.
But Trespasser might be able to get them here. This might end up being a three-way, and Trespasser might stand a chance of actually keeping ahead of Joe and Naliluka. It's going to be close, but I think Trespasser has the momentum to get past these two. Yes, he does. And they're all going to be together. 5 cars pretty much in one long line. Naliluka and Joe on the underside, on the inside of the two Born to Race cars.
They're making their move right away. They're on the attack.
But Trespasser still managed to get a gap. I mean, 4 cars drafting together would be a disaster, and Trespasser would be able to get away. But look, they've all spread out once again. And, well, Joe and Naliluka have just got it absolutely nailed today. And, well, let's see which of these groups
I don't understand what happened to Twincam and Rayman.
I don't know.
They really didn't put up a fight.
No, but look at the rate at which Trespasser's being caught again here. It's just depressing, isn't it? Let's see what happens.
Well, hopefully in between the races, they might have chatted a bit and maybe figured this out better. Because it's going to happen. This is 3-car drafting. It's going to happen again.
Yeah, and you'd hope to think that they'd sorted it out, because the second that they don't, the Born to Race drivers, who we know, well, they weren't the same Born to Race drivers that were drafting together last time. Kingy is drafting with Sufor at the moment. As Unite and Hachioka are also working together somewhere out on track. But there we go. Now Luca in the slipstream with Trespasser. And there's the three-way
battle again. Should be coming through.
There he is.
And he's not. This is fine, though. Now he's just got to wait. Let Trespasser get behind Nally. Now if they can keep Trespasser in the middle, this will work out.
Yeah, this is what you said last time, and they didn't seem to do it. Look, Trespasser will need to go underneath Naliluka, and Naliluka will need to stay at the back. It looks like they're going to get it this time. There we go. That's 1. Now stay like that, and then switch again at the next corner.
Or if you don't, then you drive just up to the back of Joe Holmes's car.
Well, let's see what happens.
We've made a mistake already.
There we go. Yeah, I'm not sure what that was, but anyway, they've not elected for your strategy, Fraz, and that might come back to bite them, because the two behind them, they're looking fast, but actually they've not made any gains really on that last couple of laps.
And we just saw, the danger. Now they're in, the danger of this drafting is,
United Onifus
can't
is joining
guarantee anything now.
Yeah, United Onifus might be very, very close to the Born to Race drivers here to cause them even more headache. And yeah, it looks like they've been forced out wide. They're going to try and run it around the high line. And they may just, they managed to get ahead of Onifus, but that means these guys are still behind Ayub and TJ. Joe managed to bump Naniluka into the wall just out of shot, so really isn't working well at the front at the moment. Advantage Ayub and advantage TJ. They've got the fastest lap between them as well. This is going to be exciting, this one. I don't think we're going to get the same ease for Joe and Naniluka on this one. Trespasser isn't necessarily doing the wrong thing. I just don't think they're all working together well. Actually, there, Trespasser dragging against the wall, and Hachiroku joining them. Hachiroku's had a good start. There we go. Look, he's going to drop into no man's land, and he'll end up with he's going to be with Rayman and Twin Cam.
With the Butuar guys.
So he just left Kingy and Sufor, and he's now going to join in with the other two from that team. So that'll be a bit weird. But there we go.
So let's see if they see what Butuar's plans are here with Hachi. Do they want to dump him right away or try to keep him with them? It looks like they want to dump him.
They want to dump him. They don't care. But I think he's close enough that he'll be able to catch up. And if not, then they've got Onifus and Unite for support just behind if they need it. As over start finish come TJ and Ayub to start lap 11. And, well, they're on very, very good pace. Ayub now with the fastest lap. Very, very consistent on the 54s. And that's exactly where they need to be.
Yeah, is Hernandez and Grzanka not far behind, though?
Yeah, they're fast as well. This is looking much more competitive than the first race, and that's exciting. We've got 20, just under 20 laps of racing to go, and well, it's excitement at the beginning.
So let's see.
Trespasser.
I think Trespasser. No, he's the most experienced driver out of this group. He should know. Just stay behind these guys. Let them two-car. I think
Joe is definitely the most experienced driver in this group, but yeah, Trespasser's done his fair share of
oval.
Yeah,
but I mean oval driver.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let you have that one. Well, if you're just joining us, you're tuned into Fragmaster's GTI Thursday in Live for Speed. We're watching the second of two oval races, and if you missed the first one, Joe Holmes won ahead of Naniluka, but it doesn't look like it might go that way this time. Joe started in P15, and we've got a lot of very, very fast drafting pairs out there on the track as well. These guys have already pitted, but our race leaders have not as yet. And that opens up some interesting opportunities as Joe Holmes scores the fastest lap.
I think Trespasser's doing what I just said. I think he's going to stay behind and let Nally and Joe Holmes do their thing. And because as two people, you just saw they're putting up fast times.
They are indeed, but Joe Holmes needs Naniluka to be closer to the back of him coming out of turn number 1. Actually, that worked quite well that time. That was one of the nicer slingshots that I've seen them get. So I'll recant that last statement. That was pretty nice. So that's more of the same is what they need. Oh, bit of an accidental push. I think Joe wanted to come underneath, but Naniluka had taken his line, and that's a mistake. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, not as two cars up front, and we know they're running perfectly. Okay, they're going to come up into some lap traffic here, and let's see. That's always interesting. Got Joe. We've got my teammate Onifus here, and Unite in the picture, closing in on Butuar guys. Let's see, Twin Cam and Rayman, I believe.
Yeah, and Unite and Onifus are definitely closing in on them.
But yeah, this will be interesting because, 4 cars doesn't work here.
No, absolutely. they'll be treading on each other's toes. So these two Born to Race drivers need to shift it, otherwise they're going to all be compromised. As we
back on TJ and Ayub up front.
Yeah, we're over halfway now, Fraz. So it's real crunch time for these two. They don't have the pace at the moment over the Joe Holmes, Danny Luca, Trespasser trio. And yeah, I think Unite has literally, so if we pan the camera back to Unite, he's literally just about to catch the slipstream of Twin Cam, and this is a disaster for all four of these guys unless Twin Cam and Onifus and Unite can get ahead somehow. But this is when galaxies merge, Fraz. This is when it becomes very messy.
Yeah, this is when, yes, you don't know what to do. There's always a draft in front of you, and so if I'm doing these guys, I'm gonna pass low, and I'm gonna stay low with my drafting partner and try to draft really low.
Did you see what happened there? Unite nearly squeezed Onifus into the apron. He wasn't expecting to be passed again, and it compromised them both. So if he keeps doing that, they won't have to worry. But yeah, that would have taken him a little bit by surprise. We're riding on board with Onifus for Fragmasters, the only Fragmasters car here, which is not that unusual. I thought Fragmasters would be all over the oval races here for us, but anyway.
Yeah, I put out the word late to Panseo. He'd normally be here, but yeah, he's got to work, unfortunately. So if I would have gave him enough heads up, he'd probably be here. But yeah, FM just doesn't show up at GTI Thursday too much.
Well, as we ride on board again, there's Unite coming back through. And, well, our race leaders are not making any signs of pitting just yet. They're quite content to be out there at the front, setting pretty good lap times. But it remains to be seen whether Joe and Nana Luca are putting in the work at the moment to close the gap. Let's see.
Right, it's so hard to gauge because they're both on the opposite sides of each other on the track.
Well, if you think about it, the gap last time when Joe managed to get in front, the gap was 33 seconds. The gap is only 34 seconds now, so keep an eye on the time. If it goes to 34 dead, then they're going to come out side by side. There's 2/10 essentially in this race at the moment between our Abe and TJ duo and our Joe Holmes Trespasser Nana Luca trio.
This is shaping up to be a really exciting finish, I think.
I think so. I hope that the maths doesn't end up taking some of the fun out of it. But actually, on that last lap, Abe and TJ did a much better job. 2/10 they gained on this group. Rayman and Twin Cam are about to hit some traffic. Got our guy. And this could, in fact, I think they've actually switched it on. They've managed to open up the gap to Onifus and Unite. Unite and Onifus have sort of stopped their pursuit. They've not got any closer. In fact, they might even have dropped away a bit since we thought, oh yeah, in fact they have. Look at that, Rayman fastest lap.
Yeah, that's the thing. 1 minute, yeah, any car out here in the draft can put up a fastest lap. As long as they're working well, nobody scrubs the wall, and but these guys look to be running good together. Onifus and Unite not making up any ground behind them.
Yeah, let's give Ayub and TJ some airtime and see what's going on with that gap. It looks like they're playing with about 3/10, maybe half a second. Looks like it's good. They're going to come out side by side with the leaders at this rate if they get a good pit stop. But there's still a lot of laps to go. We've got 8 laps to go after this one. And anything can happen in that time. But if they keep going as they are, we're going to have a 5-way battle for the lead. They'll all come out of the pit lane at the same time on top of each other, and it'll be anyone's guess But at the moment, these guys are doing an excellent job.
Right, they're doing everything they can do. I mean, there's two of them. They can only go so fast. It's Joe Holmes. If he's in the 3-car draft, they are capable of going faster if they get organized.
There's Kingy and Sufort. Kingy into the wall there, actually. As Joe scores another fastest lap and brings the gap to the lead down to 34.08. This is as close as you like. The margin is so fine, and if they bring that gap down any lower, then I reckon this group has the advantage coming onto the final lap for us.
Yeah, this is gonna. Yeah, again, Trespasser looks like he's just gonna hang back, wait for the final lap, and that's when he can get involved in this.
Oh, who is
Whoa!
that parked stationary in the middle of the track? Who's that going to cause chaos for? I'm not sure who it was.
Nope, just the red car. That's all I saw, and
yeah,
I'm sure that's all they saw.
it was a bit of a blur. It split them up a little bit. Would have caused maybe a bit of startle. Naliluka has got a bit of a gap now, actually, ahead of Joe. Joe's gone right. Oh, it's Burned that's having the trouble. He's on the inside of the final corner. Hopefully it doesn't cause any problems for other drivers. And we've got the race leaders coming up. Yeah, and Naliluka's got a break. That really has affected the rhythm of Naliluka, Joe and Trespasser. Joe and Trespasser now having to work together to catch back up to Naliluka. And you can see the skid marks on the road where Burned must have spun out. They have now caught back up to Naliluka, but they've lost time. Half a second almost to our race leaders.
Right, they avoid that problem, and yeah, these guys were right involved in it. I mean, yeah, just great driving just to avoid Burned.
Oh no,
and
the galaxies have merged. Onifus and Unite have caught up to the back of Rayman and Twin Cam, which is actually very surprising given the pace that Rayman and Twin Cam had a minute ago. So they must have made a mistake. There's no way.
So we're going to be 3 wide here at T1.
Yeah, and well, it looks like Unite
got to get right behind Unite here, and they got to stay low. And they are staying low.
Yeah, maybe the Boards of Race cars won't bother them. They'll just go about their own race and let them carry on. It's just going to be too slow if they.
No, I think they're going to full out battle all the way to the end now.
Well, here we go. You might as well have a bit of fun at this point. They're probably not going to win, so they might as well see who's going to win in this 4-car train. In fact, Twin Cam's got to be careful there. He might get dropped. Oh no, he's back up behind his teammate. As Unite tries to cover the...
a little chaos drafting is always fun. Might be slow, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, here are our leaders. Over start finish. The gap to Joe Holmes is now 33.8. Even though they had that little bit of a wobble, the 3-car train is back up to pace. It's going to be so close for us. I think it's going to be a 5-car battle to the line. Still.
Yeah, I was just trying to think out how long is this pit lane going to be? And anything can happen on this pit entrance because you want to be fast. And now you got a wall inside.
The thing that this is going to come down to is that even the cars leaving the pit lane will need to be slipstreaming each other out of the pit lane. They have to be that close, otherwise these 3 are just going to drive straight past. It's going to be like a train, and it's not going to stop for them. It looks like Unite and Onifus have made a drop. They've managed to drop Rayman and Twin Cam. That gap has opened up, so they have made the jump. That's interesting. But yeah, crucially, on that lap, Joe Holmes, Naliluka, 34, around that crucial 34-second margin to our race leaders. And we've only got 2 laps left before they have to come in.
And like I say, Trespasser has just been following these 2, letting them 2-car draft, which they're really proficient at.
Trespasser's just being patient here, and the hilarious thing is that Joe and Naliluka are doing all this work, and Trespasser could quite easily time this to perfection and just steal the win. He's in a perfect position, but either of the two cars ahead just need to defend at the exact right time, and they can steal glory for themselves or the other one. Joe Holmes won the first race, of course. Nana Luca came home second. Trespasser didn't even manage to get a podium because of the error they made late on. But as they come over start-finish, 34.1 seconds between Joe Holmes and the leaders as they come over start-finish now. And they have to pit on this lap. They've got traffic. They've got EA Presley just ahead from Air Attack. I wonder if he will come into a little bit of play here.
No, I think Elvis, he knows to keep his nose clean right now, so I don't think he'll be a problem.
Well, unless he hasn't pitted, in which case he will definitely have to be a problem because he doesn't have a choice. But here, these two, they have to come into the pits. There you go, over to the right-hand side. Presley stays out, and in come Abe and TJ. This is the moment. This is the moment of the race. They have to nail the pit entry, and Abe's going wide. Abe's going very, very wide.
This turn is very hard. It's flat.
It's flat, yeah.
And yeah, you're carrying a lot of speed.
Slow down. Get the car slowed down. The brakes are not good on these setups, but they're in. They're into pit lane. No penalties. And now they've got to pick a box, and they've got to make this efficient. Ayub is all over the place. He's not on the right line at all. TJ stops. He's back up to speed.
Whoa.
Ayub stops. He's back up to speed. But TJ is going to be along. No, is he going to be behind or alongside?
No,
behind.
They're looking good. They're looking good.
But here comes the Joe train. Out of the final corner, there's a gap between Nanaluka and Trespasser, but where is Abe? VM Carls will lead a lap. That's interesting. VM Carls has he stopped? He can't have stopped. There's no way. Carls has not made a pit stop in this race.
It looks like these guys have it.
Let's have a look.
Oh,
see.
TJ into the wall.
Oof.
But they're back out. They've got their lead,
Yeah,
but they are not drafting.
Lead. Oh, TJ's lagging. I can't believe how much of an advantage they've got. The advantage of the other guys last race was 33, 32 seconds, something like that. But Ayub must be laughing here now. Ayub is going to take the win. In fact, Carls is going to take the win, but he hasn't done a pit stop. He's disqualified. Our winner is disqualified from the race for not pitting. And it's Ayub that's going to take the win. Here he comes. Well, hopefully he comes across the line. There we go. In some sort of silly fashion, Joe third place. So Joe did manage to win. Nelly Luca comes absolutely hurtling past the camera. The drivers not caring about the way that this looks on the camera at all, are they? They just want to have a bit of fun across the start-finish line. But there's our winner somewhere in the mix. It's Ayub El Hanouni. That is solace for timing out on the final lap of the 100-minute RTFR XL race on Tuesday. He is the winner of the 17th round of GTI Thursday in 2025, and he must be absolutely thrilled with that because, well, it could have gone either way. I thought Joe had done enough, but it doesn't, not quite. A couple of errors along the way. Maybe they could have been closer, but 1.5 seconds, that was it at the end between those two groups. Fraz, that was epic.
That was awesome. I'm so happy for a win for AU. Yeah, Joe Holmes. I don't know how he does it every race, but he's right there at the end.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. That's your winner on the screen. I think that is everybody that is finished. I don't think we're waiting for anybody else. 33 cars crossing the line, one of which did not do a pit stop. And let's take a look at the finishing order now. In the background, you have your winner, Born to Race Ayub, in 25 minutes, 28 seconds, 0.76. Then it's TJ, and then the fastest lap holder, Joe Holmes, winner in race 1, third in race number 2. From P15 on the grid, don't forget, to come within a second and a half of the front is very, very impressive. He was pulled to the line by Nanaluka. Trespasser managed to get past Nanaluka. That's cruel, but anyway, they actually crossed the line all together. Look at that. 1.54, 1.54, 1.54. A dead heat between Joe, Trespasser, and Nanaluka. I wonder if Chris can quickly get us a screenshot of the start-finish line to see just how close that was. Then we've got Hernandez, Onifus, Grazanka, Rayman, Twincam, Sufor, Unite, Kingy, Magic, Rid, River, Omar, Heiko, Neurotica, and Kirku. 87, the top 20. And then over on the second screen, we've got Chameleon, Thambu, Brain, Wino Good, Presley, Nate Novak, Rocket, JJ Raijo, Christian with that penalty, 30-second penalty there. Our guy, DC2R, Alf DC2R, burnt your finishers with Igorka, Dodislav, Hachiroku, Dom, P. Neves, J. Martins, Carl, and Dewar, your 40 cars that were classified in this event. Fraz, that was phenomenal, brilliant racing.
It was. Generally you do oval and you don't know what you're going to get. It could be a crash fest. It could be a mess on the first lap. You do not know what you're going to have. And here, it was relatively clean. I mean, wow.
It was fantastic. Yeah, really good. A return to the good old days of oval racing. Clearly a lot of experienced drivers out there today. And yeah, everybody was very sensible. And we got some fantastic group racing. And in the end, in race 2, a bit of a change. Abe taking the overall win there. So brilliant stuff. Yeah, I will give Chris a couple more minutes to see if we can get that screenshot that we need for Holmes, Trespasser, and Naliluka. But yeah, what a brilliant race that was.
Right, for Joe
yeah.
Holmes and Trespasser and Naliuka to come up from 15th position. I mean, yeah, that's again, that can only happen in oval just about. Where 3 cars can make such a big climb.
Yeah, exactly. They worked so well together, and well, that's what you want to see, isn't it? On GTO Thursday. Speaking of, we are not done here. Of course, we have another 8 rounds to broadcast to you before the end of the year. If you want to join in with GTI Thursday action by Fragmasters, you can, of course, do that every single week. Rounds 18 will take place on next week, and you can join all of the action there at a combination to be decided after this event. And
right. That's the big prize for winning a race today. You get to pick up your favorite combo for the next event or whatever.
Exactly, and I think I have the graphic that Chris has kindly put together for us. It's about to flash onto the screen now. Well, who do you? I don't know. I think Joe maybe.
Yeah, I see Joe is in front.
Joe is marked as finished in this screenshot. Trespasser isn't, so that's how close it was between Nalaluka and Trespasser. But it doesn't get closer than that in a side by side photo finish.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That was the finish for 3rd place, everybody, and that's why we love oval racing with the GTIs. Just such awesome close racing. Trespasser there nearly managing to get the 3rd place, even though he sat in P5 at the end until the line. But now Luca there at the back, classified in the end in P5. Brilliant stuff. All right. That'll just about do it for us, Fraz, I think, today. But thanks again for joining me in the commentary box. That was amazing. I hope you'll agree.
Oh, like I say, I'm thrilled with the way that racing went. That was, yeah. I hope everybody at home or wherever you're watching it enjoyed today's event, because it doesn't get much better than that.
No, 2 brilliant finishes, 2 brilliant races, and I hope we get more oval in the future, because that was awesome. From all of us here at Sim Broadcast, we wish you a great rest of your week. We will see you on the next broadcast, and you can of course catch more GTI Thursday action in Live for Speed next week if you want to join the grid for it. But we'll be back in a month for more coverage here on our channel. From all of us here to all of you, have a great rest of your evening. Good night.